out of my face, we can go ahead and get into the demonstration. So first thing I'm going to do is prime my face, and this is another new product I'm going to be featuring in this video. This is the Maybelline Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser. I've used this once so far and I do like it. I can already tell you I definitely do prefer the Benefit Porefessional. I feel like this is a closer dupe to the Smashbox Photo Finish. So it just comes out in a clear little consistency. It reminds me a lot of the Smashbox Photo Finish primer, even the texture, except I feel like maybe this one may be a little bit more moisturizing. I know the Smashbox version comes in a, what is it? Is it like the Hydro Photo Finish or something? This is just, I would compare it to like the regular Smashbox Photo Finish that comes in the clear tube. So I'm just gonna apply this all over. The main difference is I feel like this one kind of has more of a like slicker, I don't want to say greasy, but I feel like that's the best way to describe it, more of a greasy feel than Photo Finish. And that's another reason why I feel like it's completely different than the Benefit Porefessional. To me, Benefit Porefessional, it like hides your pores and then it almost kind of dries to more of a powder finish. I feel like this one kind of stays a little bit more slick on your face, but I don't mind that, having drier skin, and I feel like it allows the foundation to just like glide right onto my face. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with, where did I put you? This guy here. This is the Revlon Age Defying Wrinkle Remedy Line Filler. I don't really have too many wrinkles on my face yet, but I do have a couple fine lines under my eyes. So I'm gonna just pop some of this right on here. This actually has a little bit thicker of a consistency. I thought this would be more of kind of like a silicone thinner texture, but definitely is a little bit thicker. You kind of have to work it in there. So right off the bat, I honestly don't notice a difference at all because I have one larger fine line right here. I don't even really feel like it's worth zooming in because there honestly isn't really a difference at all. Let's see. Yeah, I just don't really feel like it did anything. Maybe added a little bit moisture to my under eyes, but that's about it. Now moving on to the foundation, which I guess is kind of like the star of this video. This is the Neutrogena Nourishing Longwear Makeup Tone Correcting Complex. I picked mine up in the shade 40 Nude. It claims to have 12-hour wear up here on the top, which I didn't even really notice earlier. If you guys watched the drugstore haul that I featured this product in, then you would have heard me mention that within the color range, it seemed like a lot of the foundations ran more on the cool side. A lot of them were very, very pink. There were only a select few to pick from that were more on the yellow side. And even once you got to the yellow range of the spectrum, I guess, a lot of the foundations ran very orange looking in the bottle. So this one was the closest match to my skin tone. Once again, I got it in Nude 40. I realize I have my forehead cropped out right now, but we're gonna zoom you guys in closer anyways, just to get a closer look of how this applies and everything. So let's go ahead and zoom you guys on in. So right off the bat, my first complaint about this foundation is that it doesn't come with a pump. That's one thing I can't stand. Yeah, it's just a pour out formula, so okay, well, that's not what I expected. If you guys are familiar with the Neutrogena Healthy Skin Foundation, you know how that one's really thin in consistency and kind of just runs out. This looks like it's super thick, like even thicker than Revlon Color Stay. As you can see, I'm holding the bottle upside down and nothing is coming out. So yeah, that is already some negative points in my mind. I don't even know how much of this to get. Okay, so I just kind of dumped some out on my hand. It doesn't come out evenly, just kind of, you just have to like bash it out of there. I don't know. I'm going to dab this onto my face. Texture wise, it is thicker than what I prefer in most foundations. I normally like to wear foundations that are similar to like Bobbi Brown Skin or the True Match Lumi foundation. I really like thinner foundations. This one does feel thicker to the touch. Let's see. Using a damp beauty blender though, it blends out nicely. It doesn't seem like a foundation that you have to work super fast with. For like color and tone, I'm really impressed. I feel like it matches my skin almost perfectly. So right now, if the color stays true to this as what it is right now and doesn't oxidize, I'll be really happy with that. Coverage wise, I would say it's about like a medium foundation that I'm guessing you could build up. Let's see. So right here, I've already applied some, but I have some blemishes here. So let's see what kind of added coverage we can get. Yeah, you can definitely build up the coverage. My freckles are still peeking through, which I don't mind because I feel like that way it still looks like skin. Another thing about this product, you get good coverage, but I feel like you kind of need a bit more product than what I would normally use to actually get it to blend out, just because it is like a thicker formula than my other foundations. So I haven't applied it to my nose yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and try to zoom you guys in a little bit more so we can see the difference between the two sides of my face. No foundation and tons of freckles, and as you can see I have some blemishes going on right here. Now the side with foundation. Right now I'm really impressed with the color match. I really like the color of it. I'm hoping it doesn't oxidize because then I'll just look like a hot orange mess. But right now the color I feel like matches well. As you can see, freckles are still peeking through, which I totally don't mind because I feel like that makes your foundation look more like skin rather than cake face. And it doesn't really have any tackiness whatsoever. I feel like with this formula, the foundation should have definitely come with a pump, because this is annoying. I'm gonna have like a bruise on the back of my hand by the time I'm finished with this video. Okay, so now that I have that all blended in, I'm going to go in with a concealer. And the concealer that I'm using today is another new product. This is the L'Oreal Visible Lift CC Eye Concealer Corrector Multi-Action, and I got mine in the shade Light. So let's go ahead and try this now. This is just a little roller ball applicator. Ooh, it feels really good. Okay. I don't know if that was too much or too little. I guess we'll see. First, I'm going to start with my finger. And pat it in. I'm going to go in with my Beauty Blender again. The texture of this is really nice. It's super lightweight. It doesn't have like extreme coverage. If you guys are used to wearing something like MAC Pro Longwear Concealer, this won't give you the kind of coverage that you want. But I feel like it's definitely doing its job with brightening. I think I actually really like this. I don't mind products that are thinner like this. I feel like this eye already looks a little bit more awake and lifted. I feel like it's definitely more of a corrector than a concealer. I think I would use this more as like a highlighter. Yeah, I feel like this definitely works more as a highlighter or like under eye brightener. I'm liking it though. I actually really like it. So the powder that I'm going to use today is just this one from Physicians Formula. It's the Talc-Free Mineral Wear Mineral Loose Powder in translucent medium. So nothing that's really going to add more coverage or color, but just to set it into place. Oh, just going to pat this. Mainly focusing just on my T-zone, because if I do get a little bit shiny, that's really the only area that it happens. So this is what we are looking at coverage wise. I feel like it's like an average foundation. It covered redness and blemishes for the most part. As I mentioned earlier, my freckles are still peeking through, but yeah, so far I am satisfied with the coverage. It is now currently 2:05 p.m. I'm guessing I will check in with you guys anywhere from about 5 to 7 hours just to see how this foundation wears throughout the day. I guess just a quick kind of overview of my first impressions as of right now. The Maybelline Baby Skin, I feel like it is a good drugstore alternative to the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. So if you are on a budget and you're looking for something to kind of control or minimize your pores, then this would be a good product. The only thing is I don't feel like it's oil free. It's definitely more of a slicker product. I feel like this would work better on normal to dry skin. I don't know, I just don't know how you guys will feel about that texture, because even while I was applying my foundation, I could still feel like that slickness, almost greasy feel of the primer. But overall for my skin type, which is normal to dry, I really do like it. I feel like it did a good job kind of hiding any of the larger pores that I have around my nose area. Next up is the Revlon Age Defying Wrinkle Remedy Line Filler. This is a total pass. I just have really small fine lines under my eyes and I don't feel like it did anything. So if it didn't do anything for those small lines, I don't know what it would do for larger lines. I don't know. I feel like if this is supposed to be able to cover wrinkles, it should do the job on smaller wrinkles too, right? I mean, that would make sense in my mind. So yeah, I would definitely pass on this. Unfortunately, this was just not impressive whatsoever. And then for the foundation, the Neutrogena foundation, so far I am liking it. I don't think it's anything that you need to like run out of your house to get right now. I feel like there's definitely better drugstore foundations, but overall, I just feel like it's kind of an average foundation as of right now, unless it has some incredible like long wearing power, like it says long wear 12 hour. I guess I'm not going to test it for 12 hours because that's a long time, but I feel like will see enough after 5 to 7 hours. So yeah, coverage wise and formula, or I guess more coverage wise, I do like formula. I wish it was thinner in consistency and I wish it had a pump. On to the very final product, which is the L'Oreal Visible Lift CC Cream for your eyes, the eye concealer corrector. Out of all 4 products that I mentioned, I feel like this is the one you should definitely go out and get. I'm already loving it. Just after the first try, unless it does something crazy like change, or like oxidize or crease throughout the day, I don't know, I just don't really see it doing that though, because the formula was so thin, it just melted right into my skin. So yeah, out of everything, I feel like this is something you should totally go out and try. I'm really, really liking it so far. So yeah, it's now 2:10 because I've been blabbing on. So I will see you guys in 5 to 7-ish hours. Hey guys, so now it's been 5.5 hours after first applying the foundation. It is now approximately 7:35. So now I'm gonna give you guys, I guess, my final thoughts on the foundation. Now keep in mind, this is more of just a first impressions video. However, I feel like foundation is a product for me personally where I can tell whether I'm going to like it or not like it after like the first 1 or 2 times using it. I feel like the only thing that would really change my mind about this foundation is if I was to wear it in like intense humidity, and then I could really see the longevity of it like tested through intense weather. But for day-to-day use, I feel like it's fair enough to tell you how I feel about it as of right now. So after the 5.5 hours overall, just another quick side note, my skin type, I would say normal skin for the most part, except for my cheeks. My cheeks tend to get dry, but my T-zone I would say is pretty normal. It's not dry and it's not really oily either. So as you can see right now on my T-zone, I didn't do any touch-ups except for my lips, obviously, because those kind of just wore off right away. My forehead does have some shine to it. So for me, having normal skin and having this much shine, I feel like someone that was really on the oilier side would probably have way more shine all around their face than what I do now. So that may be kind of something that may turn people off who have oilier skin. It's not that the foundation broke down. I just feel like some oils may have kind of come through. But one thing that I will say is normally with a lot of foundations that I use, except for maybe like 2 of my like hardcore favorites, foundations always first break down right on the top of my nose. I don't know what it is. It's just, I feel like my foundation will always almost just like rub completely off right there. But when I touch it, my nose doesn't feel greasy. It just doesn't wear well there. But this foundation lasted pretty well. I mean, I do have some pink peeking through. That's weird to say those 2 words in a row. Peeking through, but for the most part, it stayed kind of not matte, but it like hid any of the redness. Now for my face, I don't feel like the foundation really shifted at all. I will say one thing that I'm loving about it is that it did not oxidize whatsoever. It stayed true to the color, so it still matches my skin perfectly, which I love. Some of my blemishes kind of are peeking through. Once again, I don't feel like the foundation like broke apart unevenly, you know, like around random patches of your face, if you guys know what I'm saying. Some foundations, I feel like they start like breaking apart throughout the day, maybe like oils start to come through and it'll be like really blotchy. I don't feel like I really look blotchy at all, but my T-zone is shinier than what I would like it. That would be an easy fix with touch-ups, but I just didn't really want to do any touch-ups just to see how it would really last. But other than that, I don't know. I feel like it did a good job holding onto my face for the most part. The coverage I do still really like. I feel like it's a really nice natural medium coverage that you can build up. But once again, my main gripe with this foundation is that it doesn't have a pump. I feel like with this formula being so thick in consistency, it's really hard to get out of the container. So I can't imagine what it's going to be like once you're like halfway through. It's going to be basically impossible because with it completely full, I'm having to like bash it onto the back of my hand. So that being said, what else? The under eye wrinkle filler I still think is a total pass. I may try to return this if I can. I know Walgreens has a pretty good return policy. This I wasn't impressed with whatsoever. The baby skin I do like, but I'm still kind of sticking to the whole thing where if you have really oily skin, I feel like this may be a pass for you just because I felt like the texture stayed really slick on my face. However, the L'Oreal Visible Lift CC Cream, absolutely amazing. Love this. I feel like it wore pretty well throughout the day. It really didn't crease at all. Yeah, there's really not any creasing. So I do love this. Highly recommend it. For the foundation, It's a nice foundation, but I don't think it's anything that like would necessarily like have to replace a foundation you already have. If I already didn't have so many other foundations, I think I would like and appreciate this one more, but I just feel like I have other foundations in my collection that I prefer way more than this one. So I guess overall what I'm trying to say is this foundation is more of a I like it thing, not a I love it and I'm gonna go out and buy more every time I run out. So it's not something that I hate, but it's just not something that I love either. So I think that pretty much wraps up this video. I hope you guys found it helpful. And if you guys would like to see more of these kind of first impressions video, be sure to give this video a thumbs up so then I will know. But yeah, as always, thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you guys next time. Bye.